Hello. Welcome to this channel where I write all the original stories and read them as an immersive podcast for you. Today is a very special episode where I transform into a furry and then help you to transform into a demonic cat, where you will travel into hell, become a demon, and then come back to earth to try to seduce a pure soul. I really hope that I have got you interested and is totally ready to enjoy a special time. On the YouTube channel, there will be a description where the furry hat will be linked in the Etsy store. So for my own promotion, please go to my channel, look around. There will be fantasies, there will be comedies, there will be dramas, there will be romance for you to enjoy a special, relaxing time. Enjoy and have a wonderful time.
When you get close to a flame that burns so hot, the radiation transfers all the energy towards you. Not even the coolest ice can resist the warmth. In the age of greed, find the purest heart and the most precious intention. Let hell freeze over and use the kindness to navigate this world. And spread kindness together. Hello, fellow humans. This is Lots of Hope. Welcome to this episode of The Living Journey, where we escape and explore life in an alternate universe. And thank you for your support. Now, let's decompress. Demonic Cat. Sitting in your office, on the monitor, you observed your first victim leaving the publisher's office. With a special request to hell, the main office interfered with the earth for you and denied the perfectly written children's book from being published. With the disappointment on the kindergarten school teacher's face, you felt proud and burst into the most evil laughter a young demon could have, expressing your ambition and scaring all the other demons watching on their own monitors. Seeing the teacher stepping out of the bus, walking back into the kindergarten, with all the other teachers trying to cheer her up, she dropped a tear but said, "It's okay. Maybe I'm just not good enough to be an author." Seeing the worrying eyes of her colleagues, she realized that she was being a downer. So she reflected, "But I'm a great teacher." Pretending a huge smile, she walked back into her classroom with a big, bright smile, announcing to the happily screaming and cheering children, "I'm back." Seeing her pretended cheerful voice and the sound of her broken dream, you couldn't help but felt proud. In the age of greed, after your year-long training, you were so confident that soon you would be able to claim your first precious innocent soul. In the early winter evening, with the sun disappearing rapidly, the chilled wind quickly took over. Departing from your comfy burning office, arriving at the teacher's one and only way home, you transformed into a skinny black cat. Catching a flying cardboard box, you sat on top of the prop and patiently waited for your target to arrive. Traveling in the cold, you had already started to miss your burning hell home. And soon, seeing your victim walking towards you, holding her bag of portfolio, her normal work bag, and a reusable bag containing groceries and food. Seeing the target in person for the very first time, like seeing your favorite celebrity or Satan himself, you couldn't contain your excitement and melt your non existing soul further away. Noticing your helpless crying, screaming to seduce her to bring you home. She only patted you, then resumed walking away. Couldn't let her go. You jumped up and chased her, following her quietly, hoping her to pick you up and adopt you into her home so you can start granting her wishes, taking her down the pleasurable sinful road, enjoying the endless fun while the pure soul gets slowly corrupted. Are you okay? Do you need food? She turned around, patiently and nicely talking to you, like she were talking to one of her children in school. And she opened her bag, picked a piece of bread to share with you. No, I want you to take me home, you silly woman. You angrily refused the bread. With a short temper, you hopped away when you were thinking about finding a different way to enter her life and corrupt her innocence. You accidentally hopped onto the road, and with a loud impact, and you were knocked unconscious. With pains and aches that normal humans would describe as hell. Jesus, you work hard. You heard the demonic officer. Sorry for cursing, but you can't do this again. I'm able to save you this time because I found a loophole. Cats technically have 9 lives. With complications during the surgeries, you have exactly and literally 1 left, so you will be saved this time. But don't ever pass away again, or you will suffer the evaporation, never able to return to the hell ever again. Don't do it again. Remember that. With the warning in your ears, you woke up in the living room of your target. Apparently, she was in no place to adopt you, but she rushed you into a vet hospital, paid her savings into surgeries. When the vets had pronounced you, she cried her eyes out, made the vets think you were her pet. I'm willing to pay. Please do one more thing, whatever you can. Not knowing that had happened, you just enjoyed your first step of success and proceeded to kickstart your plan of corrupting her soul. Every time she makes a wish, once you hear the words, the demonic system automatically translates and grants her wishes. It started small. Started with her wishing for a free, perfect bacon, egg, and cheese breakfast sandwich in the morning because she was saving money for some reason. She tasted the most amazing and perfectly textured breakfast sandwich, then granting her a seat on the bus. Soon, when she was about to be late for work, she was granted a police car opening the road for her bus for an emergency. Very, very instinctively, she caught a pattern when she spoke to you, saying, I love you, I will miss you, I will do my best to come home early and get you the canned soup. Wish me luck. And all the wishes will come true. Feeling extremely happy with her realization, you thought your way of seducing her into a deeper and deeper desire will help you to destroy her soul so very soon. So proud that I will be able to accomplish my first mission so very soon. So proud of yourself, you thought. Holding you in her arms, talking to you, describing the day in school, about what had happened. You couldn't understand how it is possible, with the greatest access to the magical power of making all wishes come true, your target, the teacher, couldn't stop talking about her children, accomplishing relaying the messages to the office, helping the jobless parents to find steady jobs, making the washer and dryer in one of her students' homes be repaired miraculously, finding great discounts for new shoes for a couple of the students so they can stop wearing the shoes they had worn and torn. Oh, you are famous now. I heard about you from the others. The officer who helped you to survive the evaporation said. They are saying you can't corrupt the target, and everyone is laughing at you nonstop. Since you can't transform out of the feline form, if you want to be seen as a tough, successful demon, you have to be ruthless. Push hard. Hearing the warning, you walked around the apartment, seeing the piles of letter sitting on the kitchen counter, like shoved snow in front of an abandoned house. As a curious feline, walking by the letters, with just a push from one paw, the snow pile splashed into a miserable maze of unpaid bills. Standing on three of the four corners of the letter, slicing open the letter envelope with your sharp claw, you carefully pulled out a letter. It was a payment plan notification from the medical service. Reading the details, it was your medical bill from the accident. Realizing the teacher cut off her TV and internet service to pay for the medical cost for you, you felt both the excitement of torturing the kind soul and also the sensation of guilt that grew out of your beating heart. Before you could question what was happening to you, you realized you can seduce the soul with the opportunity of money. Meowing with the bills underneath you. As the teacher returned home, you attracted her heart that was already exploding with love with your blinking, beautiful eyes. Oh, I had the best day ever. You have no idea how happy I was when I saw everyone getting new shoes. Biting the hem of her pants, dragging her feet, they were walking away from the bills, back to the trap that you had set for her. Bending down, then picking up her internet and TV service bills, she said to you with her baby voice, "Oh, you saw? Don't feel bad. I still have my phone. Even though I do wish for the fastest internet, it was worth saving your life." Before she realized that she had made a wish, the doorbell rang. It was the apartment super telling the teacher that because of the rent being recently raised, now the internet and TV service will be included. Oh my god, the teacher gasped. I hope this doesn't come back to bite me. God? You laughed from the inside. No God can save you now. The very next day, with surgical skill, you unlocked the door, escaped out of the apartment. Traveling miles and miles, you arrived at a convenience store. At the magazine section, you knocked a book of a thick fashion magazine down the shelf. Dragging the magazine into a quiet corner, you started to flip through the magical world of high jewelry and luxurious fashion. As you were extremely obsessed with the world of beauty, the neighborhood strays gathered around you. Demonically, you understood their words. What did you steal? You know, this area is protected by my gang, right? The leading cat announced with the most threatening tone that you had ever heard on Earth. Obviously, a demon from the literal hell was never going to back down. So, with the tension gathering, the situation escalated. In the end, with you defeating 15 stray cats and one arrogant muscled raccoon, you dragged your badly injured body and walked home victoriously, biting two perfectly cut magazine pages printed with Parisian haute couture dress and a huge yellow diamond vintage high jewelry. With all your energy drained, you could barely jump or again open the door and return to the comfortable paradise that your target had set up for you. When you heard a heavy thud from two giant work tote bags dropped off the floor and a panicking voice calling you, trying to keep you awake, you could feel the cuts on your skin were getting infected and started to feel painful as the completely corrupted soul slowly detaching from the feline body and was about to evaporate. You heard the teacher wishing again. Please recover. Please hear me. Recover. With the officer signed in the hell, granting your target's wish, you were fully recovered. Without even getting a chance to doubt how you escaped from the apartment, you jumped off the tearful cuddle of the teacher and redirected her attention to the luxurious perfection, signaling her to make a wish to enjoy soul crushing desire. But seeing the materialistic wonders, she only said, No, don't get hurt for that. I'd rather you being healthy and me getting uncountable wealth. Hearing the ultimate greed, you almost laughed before she could continue. Enough to pay for every kid's school lunch in the city. Oh, wait, the whole state. With an expression of WTF, you went back into the apartment with the teacher and her two giant work tote bags. Closing the door, the draft pulled a piece of statically attached jackpot winning lottery ticket off the tote bag, landing before her feet. Being introduced at the gala, the teacher walked on the stage wearing the haute couture dress and the vintage giant yellow diamond necklace, being showered with applause and cheers for donating a huge amount of money able to supply school lunches in a couple of the districts in the city. For the following semester, with the newfound skill to turn on the TV and watch the gala event on the streaming service, you proudly enjoy the happiness and the fruit of your evil genius. The sound of the cheerful noises from the ultra wealthy echoed in your ears. Sitting on the brand new cashmere lined cat bed, like sitting on the throne, you could almost hear the acclamation from hell. Being admired by the jealous colleagues, you could say there was nothing that made you feel better if the teacher didn't end up sharing the wealth with you through countless cat toys, cat foods, and most importantly, the cuddles at night, which was so comfortable that they turned your nocturnal nature almost completely off. One day, when you were practicing your normal attack of using the leather couch as a scratching board, you were picked up, wrapped into a towel like a swaddled infant, leaving only one paw out of the burrito skin, overreacting to the cat nail trimmer on the t-shirt's end, getting closer and closer to you. You fought with all your energies to break out of the cocoon, but you were no match physically, feeling angry, distrust, and humiliation. You swore to yourself, I will make you pay. I will not forget. I will take you to hell. At night, hearing the motorcade returned to the giant mansion, you ran from the second floor master bedroom to the long hallway, down one of the two grand staircases, and found the chandelier sparkling light on the rose window double front door, waiting anxiously, not sure if you were waiting to see your target or your friend, who you had started to worry about the path that she was being led onto. When the dark figure came through the door, you swung your tail and waited for the teacher. But the shadow wasn't a human. It was one of your colleagues that you had seen from demon school. The shadow figure penetrated the stained glass door and appeared under the mesmerizing light. Feeling confused, you mewed with anger. And the colleague got nervous. Oh, I didn't know there was a representative here. My bad. Then it disappeared. As soon as the shadow exited, the teacher opened the door with her clear and cheerful familiar greeting. Hello. Talking to you in the bedroom, the teacher described to you her struggle with letting go of the massive fortune. Even though she couldn't think of anything that she could do with the money, nor had so much money made her any happier. She missed the days when she woke up anticipating the cold weather, but drinking a hot coffee with nice steamy breakfast sandwich. Oh, those angelic annoying faces. Staring at the teacher with the eyes full of struggle and confusion. Not sure what happened to you and not sure what you could do. You fell asleep in the comforting cuddle and again felt peaceful. When you returned to the office for a routine checkup, you asked the officer about the feelings that resonated in your heart. The feeling of guilt when you saw the teacher struggle through the challenges and moved towards the destruction, questioning if there is a way to solve the ache. The officer told you it was unfortunate that the kindness from the pure soul was starting to rub off on you. And what's even more unfortunate is that there is no way to stop the feeling, and it will grow stronger as the destruction deepened. Back in the big mansion, the teacher had returned home after working for just one single hour and announced to the full-time staff to find you so she could find comfort from you. It was a day of disappointment, excited to meet her favorite politician, who was supposed to thank her for the kindness in donating to the schools, in which she had already felt bad for betraying her original thoughts on the wish to have enough money that was supposed to be enough for the lunches for the whole state. And what made the hour even worse was she realized the politician was as greedy as she was. The topic was supposed to be helping even more schools, but as it turns out, the conversations were all about fancy fundraising events and how delicious the extremely salty caviar was. One day, a large party was hosted at the mansion. Although both of you barely knew anyone in the party, the Vanity Fair was glamorous. People talking about different topics, and the teacher was holding you, walking around well dressed guests, socializing, and desperately trying to find more human connections. But the conversation was as hollow and superficial as an emptied cereal box. Hearing a bunch of brats talking about their experiences out of their elite boarding schools mixed into the general population in the colleges. Even you couldn't help but rolling your eyes after hearing one of them said, my classmates had never heard of a Bugatti. So, when a conversation between the politician and a random donor about the construction of a free library caught the teacher's attention, she quickly swooped in, learned that the politician would deny the funding because of the donor didn't care about living across the street from the construction, and would be assumed busy traffic. You felt her discomfort, picking between the choice of suggesting her to ignore the topic or contribute to push for the badly needed library. You chose to remind the teacher how much power she holds to influence the world almost however she wanted to. So, the teacher said to the politician, I really like libraries. The idea of a free library not being constructed to benefit the residents will cause a huge withdrawal of my support. I mean, a huge one. A couple of days later, watching on the news, with the funding of the free library passed, the teacher sighed. I will hate myself if I become one of them. The teacher said, stroking the back of your head, finding comfort in you, as you were the only one left from her old life. After being suggested by the attorney, who was under your influence, to start a new life and cut off all the old connections. Looking at her sad face, you milled continuously, trying to communicate with the teacher, encouraging her to donate all the money as she wished. But, like an infant speaking, no one on earth could understand. With frustration, you hopped off the comfortable laps and walked maybe a mile to the kitchen for food, stressing over eating the gourmet cat food with ingredients imported from Japan, Italy, and Australia. You couldn't help but remember the story told by the teacher of how some kids couldn't afford food and their stomachs rumbled during the classes. Having never experienced an empty stomach before, especially looking at your fit physique getting covered by a layer of fat, you realized that you had never experienced hunger. Although starvation was a form of torture in hell, which used to make you laugh, it was never on your list of things that you had done. Stopping your jaw from chewing, you went on an experimental hunger strike. The first hour of not eating was fine, as your stomach was still full. Then the second hour, actually made you feel better. With less weight in your stomach, you walked as if you were floating, like a supermodel striding down the runway. The sass, the attitude, and the style created an unstoppable force of confidence. The sensation continued and faded in the third hour. The hunger strike extended into the fourth hour. Then the experiment concluded. Not able to withstand the torture of not being able to eat the delicious food, having all the ability to focus disappeared from your extremely intelligent brain, you started to feel sorry for the poor students who had no way to end the experiment after the fourth hour and had to repeat the process over and over again. Jesus, how were they going to learn? You cursed, not realizing the further infection of kindness had taught you what it means to be empathetic. Running into the professionally decorated study in the mansion, you bit the hem of the couture dress and dragged the teacher to your designated pantry. Meowing through the shelves and shelves of different flavors of dried cat food, treats, and canned food. You did your best to translate the feline gesture into a humanly understandable performance, doing your best to influence the change in the teacher. She didn't understand. Picking you up, walking into the office, you got frustrated. Just when you were about to give up, a hand-bound sketchbook caught your attention. Using the tiny amount of magic that exists in you, the unpublished children's book got yanked out of the bookshelf, landed on the carefully patterned and hand-laid cherry wood floor, blowing up fractured diamond-like dust, and made a muffled thud sound. The teacher carried you over. Picking up the book, she read the title out loud. This is Why I Share. Flipping through the pages in silence as you climbed from her arms to her shoulders. Sitting by her neck, you read the book with her, page by page. It was relatively a simple book, a fun story inspired by the teacher's childhood friend, whose simple action of sharing taught her the meaning of happiness and joy. By the time she closed the book, you were touched. A warmth aroused from inside of you, not like the burning hellfire, cruel and merciless, but like a hot cocoa, which you were not allowed to drink, cozy and satisfying. Finally, she understood you, and you learned more about kindness. Made the decisions to provide school lunches for all the needy students in the state. You nodded your adorable head, and she said to you, I wish we could still live comfortably after all the money is designated to all the schools. The news of free lunch for all the schools traveled fast, and the politician, whom she resented, appeared with the assistant at your new, smaller but more comfortable house, pleading for an endorsement for the re-election campaign, while the teacher and the politician were talking in the living room. The assistant joined you on the front porch for some gorgeous sun, thinking out loud with your meowing voice, expressing that you could never get a warm sun in the hell. The assistant agreed in the demonic language, made you realize that the assistant is actually a colleague of yours, the exact demon who had intruded into the mansion and the demon was influencing and corrupting the politician. Before you could discuss more, the politician was evicted from the house, with the teacher threatening to unseat the corrupted ass from power. Oh, you made her want to run for the office. Good job. It's a perfect path. I'm impressed, the assistant said to you, and ran after the politician. Seeing the assistant turning around, showing his evil smile, and thumbing up to you, causing a ruffling in your satisfied stomach. One reason is that you didn't even do anything. The other is that you started to question about claiming souls to hell. And if you really cared about all the other demons from hell felt about you, then the teacher called you back into the house and told you how the politician's corrupted speech and methods of seducing her to endorse the politician, like the politician was throwing the spaghetti on the wall, desperately trying to see what can stick on her wall. When the teacher turned emotional, hysterically calling out the flaws and the corruptions that she had witnessed. Then, in the heat of the moment, she screamed out her frustrations to the system by announcing her candidacy to be elected and be part of the change herself. Holding you in her arms as you stood your ears high up, awaiting for her wishful thoughts, and as she again almost made a wish to be elected, she paused. This is not the right way. I cannot abuse the wishes. I will earn my votes, and I will not be a scam like the politician. Hearing the change that you had provoked, not sure if you were sad with your failure to seduce the pure soul, or happy with the positive changes. To clear your mind, you jumped onto the radio speaker, turned on your favorite channel, and lazily slouched on her lap and escaped into the dream world, thinking that you would enjoy a mindless escapism. You had the worst nightmare of your existence. An angel, dressed in a silky robe, guided you into the gate of heaven for your choice to help your friend out of the trap of self destruction. Like someone stepped on your tail by accident, you screamed and hopped off the comfort, ran into the dark corner in the office, sat down, feeling the dark shadow in your heart, rejecting the bright sunshine, and the invasive kindness penetrating the endless pit of chaos. When the political campaign started, your house became a lonely bunker. The comfortable cuddle at night got rushed and shortened, and the daily petting and the family time disappeared. It was truly disappointing, serving as a reminder of how bad it feels not to have your best friend with you. The daily routine became extremely precious. Working as hard as humanly possible, the daily shoes quickly got torn apart by all the walking and door knocking. The exhaustion of her bending down to swiftly rub your head, then going straight into the shower, or just simply laying on the couch to sleep through the night and picking herself up to work again in the morning. When you couldn't understand how her persistence about doing the campaign the right way, aka not making a wish, she miraculously picked you up, sat on the couch with a big tub of ice cream, and expressed her struggle to not make a wish daily. I so really want to just make a wish, then puff, winning the election. But it's not the right way. It's not earned. I was taught that I need to be honest. I lived by the rule. I was happy with the rule, even teaching the kids about being honest. But when I actually had money, when I made the wish to you and realized how much I can influence things by doing it the sneaky way, I was mad at myself for following the rules for all those years. Like I had never enjoyed my youth in the way those brats had. Meowing like you were asking if she regretted the way she lived at the moment. She continued, I don't regret or anything. I was happy. Well, I'm happy now. Working hard every day, just sometimes I have this thought, wondering if I would have achieved more things in my life if I was this or that way. It's just funny how I still gravitate towards doing the things right way, the honest way. Maybe just seeing how the politician replicated the sneaky tricks that I did to get the library approved. I didn't want to be that way. I just wish the politician won't be able to cheat. Anyways, it was silly. Finishing her brief thoughts, she held your face tightly, rubbing your face on the exact spot that triggers all the pleasurable sensitivities, and said in the childish tone, but not as silly as you are. The long campaign wasn't fun. Every single day, after the teacher left the house, you enjoy the cat food, turning on the TV with your paws gently tapping the remote, changing the channels and the streaming services to check out your friend, the teacher's progress, nail biting on the typos to the point when she was so apologetic for not trimming your nails, she was surprised that the nails were in perfect length. Analyzing polls, comparing each and every single one of them, finding out the target demographics, finding out the needs and interest of the voters by turning on the computer, typing on the keyboard with your freshly trimmed nail and paws, then surfing on the internet. Being the demonic cat that you are, you can see through the needs and desires of different people. With a hit of print, your long day of work translated into a thin but concise blueprint on growing the interest of the voters. At night, hearing the keychain of the teacher jingle, then the door being opened, you ran down the stairs to the exhausted but satisfied teacher, once again biting and dragging on the hem of the pens towards the printed document, being genuinely surprised with the effort and the humanly intelligent. You got hugged so lovingly and tightly, you had to scream, yell, and kick to breathe again. Just a couple of days later, you were carried to the campaign headquarters after the updated strategy being widely shared and praised. Unsurprisingly, the teacher didn't take the credit. Although everyone took her answer of you, a black cat, being the author of the comprehensive memo, as just one of her harmless jokes. It was your first time entering the campaign headquarters. You were surprised by how relaxed the office felt. It was an abandoned storefront, with half of the space being a free store, where there are items such as clothes, food being donated, and people come to the office not only for the sole purpose of spreading the message and working for the cause, that they believed in, but also to use the space as a community center for whomever is in need. Walking by the numerous volunteers, praising how adorable and perfect you are, you felt a discomfort of the darkness leaving your body and your eyes. Trying to resist the further changes, you struggled to get away from the magical fingers that massaged and tickled your purring triggers. How can I keep all these a secret from my next checkup? I hope there are no other demons around. I will pass away from all the embarrassment and the indignity, you thought and purred. On the last couple of days of the campaign, you were completely glued to the news. In one of the interviews, the teacher was asked about donating all the money that she had gotten from the accidental lottery win. She said, "Maybe it's about legacy, what I can leave the world with, between countless money, with endless power, and selfless sacrifice. I chose to spread and inspire kindness. I think that way, if I pass away today, at this moment, people that loves me will be proud and will carry on with my work to make this world a slightly better place for all of us." Working as hard as a feline can, fine-tuning the strategies until the last minute. On the election night, you were glued to the TV, refreshing the vote counts almost as if you were the khaki pants news anchor. The small lead kept on appearing, then vanishing as more votes entered. Then, with the disappointment, the lead appeared again. Seeing on the live stream, seeing your friend nervously smiling in the crowd, thanking everyone who worked hard for the campaign. You could see in her actions the sincere smile infecting you, dragging you further and further away from the darkness. All you cared about was just to accomplish the goal of acclaiming the soul. But now, the purity and kindness were infecting yours. Suddenly, with all your thoughts were accumulating, the vote in the district where the library was approved started to grow. All the votes coming from the parents, teachers, and the neighbors who were impacted by the free school lunch dropped like avalanche. Then, before you could overcome your joy of all the kindness returning back to you, your heart burst. And the news started to roll with the title of one-time billionaire donated all the wealth while she was alive, won the election. Not sure if you remembered what the teacher said during the victorious speech. You only remembered her saying, "Thanks to my lovely, lovely cat, I love you so, so much." And for the first time in your whole demonic existence, you cried out of happiness and joy, love and kindness. Being so very exhausted, before you could finish the news talking about how the politician still hasn't conceded and was nowhere to be found, you turned off the TV elegantly, then started to bathe yourself, grooming all your stressed nerves away, and awaited your best friend to return victoriously. It was a happy night. For the first time in a long time, you and the teacher both did the proper evening routine and fell asleep cuddling each other. However you were used to sleeping at night, it still didn't change the fact that you are a nocturnal black feline. An odd sequence woke you up. A loud thud in the front door. Then, without the keychain making noise, the front door was forced open. Realizing the teacher was literally sleeping next to you, you jumped and woke the teacher. What is it? The teacher said quietly, followed by your quiet meowing, to notice the ongoing intrusion. After calling for help, the teacher walked with you to the bathroom, grabbing a hair curling iron, heating it up all the way to the maximum. Then, grabbing a can of hairspray, you walked out of the bedroom together. Standing under the stairs, the drunken politician holding a bottle of liquor in one hand and a kitchen knife in the other, surrounded by the dark shadows of your colleague. Do not get any closer, the teacher shouted, holding out the heated curling iron as if it was a sword, while you arched your back, standing all your hair up to make yourself look more voluminous. Then hissed with anger and fire. Seeing the sharp knife reflecting the moonlight from the window, you couldn't help but feel how small you were, but how much you want to protect the ones that you love. I swear to God, don't do anything stupid. The teacher toughened up and warned, even though she felt so scared. But to protect you, she asked you to get away. But you didn't move. Between the politician who was running up the stairs with the cold, hard, sharp knife and the warning of the demonic officer about you only have one chance left as a demon, you didn't hesitate at all, jumping off the second floor hallway, landing on the corrupted politician's face, scratching the face as much and as furiously as you could, trying to throw the politician off the balance to protect your friend out of kindness, out of friendship, out of love. With your struggling meowing, mixed with the panicked teacher screaming, the politician dropped the liquor bottle off the stairs and used the hand to grab you by the neck, paralyzing your whole body, then tried to pull you off the face, like Ellen Ripley pulling the alien off a human face, leaving your toenails barely able to leave any scratches on the twisted sole. With an anger slam, your weight dropped on the corner of a step. Then, with the collapsed spine, painfully bounced onto the floor. Thankfully, with the politician distracted, the teacher launched spray attack, mazing the delirious eyes. Then, both the hairspray bottle and the burning hot curling iron landed on the face, which you almost barely scratched. With both of her hands freed, she held onto the railings, balancing on one foot, and kicked the politician down the stairs, knocking the tainted soul completely unconscious. Before you closed your eyes, you heard the voice of the teacher, but the words were distorted. Blinking your eyes, you saw through the opened front door the politician's assistant walking away into the darkness and disappeared. How much do you wish to hear the words of your best friend and see her kind smile again? But your body had failed, unable to move even just 1 inch. knowing for a fact that she was making wishes for you to survive. But you couldn't hear the words, so you couldn't convey her wishes into your office. Before closing your eyes and fantasizing how the world of evaporation will feel like, your only thought was, I hope I don't get laughed at for failing hell. Miraculously, you woke up the next morning, laying in a comfy bed around the vaporized moisture. You couldn't help but feel happy because the sunlight literally shone on your body, warming up your dark fur, creating the most comfortable heat, melting your brain away. So, this is the vaporized world? You murmured to yourself, barely opened your eyes. Hearing you talk, a nursing angel nearby giggled at your reaction. Oh no, this is heaven. Welcome. Scared of what you just heard, you stood up, shaking off all the excess fur and the sleepiness. Looking at the bright and peaceful realm, you cursed, Jesus Christ, hell no. That's all for this episode of The Living Journey. I truly am grateful for your time. Feel free to leave your reviews. Please like, follow, or subscribe. Do share this show so we can grow together. Lots of hope. Signing out.